Chapter 1: The Journey of Questions. This journey began in 2015. This book will explain how this journey started, but it will not explain how it will end. The reason it will not explain how it will end is because with God, there is no end once He starts something. So, this journey will continue even long after I am gone. Journey defined. What is the definition of the word journey? Webster's dictionary explains it as follows: something suggesting travel or passage from one place to another. An act or instance of traveling from one place to another. Trip. Conversations with the divine. Long ago, I told God that if He spoke to the old prophets in the Old Testament with words like a conversation between two people, then if He did not speak to me so I could hear Him, I would never attempt to talk to Him again. After I made that statement to God, ever since then, it has allowed me to hear His voice and have those same types of conversations. The same conversations that Moses and Abraham had with God were what I wanted to hear. I later learned from my journey that it was not He who was not speaking to me all those times, but it was my antenna or harmony that was not in tune with His frequency. That lack of synchronization and alignment kept me all those years from having those conversations with Him. Christmas in August. The journey begins in Texas after the release of my last career employment due to the closing of my employer's business, creating a bust in our town. My wife and I were going to read and pray in our usual place where we meet with the Lord at the end of the day. This time, it was different. We both felt like a message was given to us while we were praying. After praying and before going to bed, we viewed an app called LinkedIn on my phone. We were using LinkedIn to find new job opportunities for me because I was out of work. While searching the app, we saw a name come up. It was from someone we were not familiar with or had seen before. He was an entrepreneur who knew people of influence. His profile spoke about how he invented this servicing of drones using his app. We had just read this passage from the Bible before we began praying. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. Ecclesiastes 5:19-20 KJV. God knew that we both needed to work to keep what we owned at the time. Work in my area dried up because of the price of oil dropping so low, causing a bust in our town. Everything we owned was paid for. We just needed a way to manage our bills. Somehow, this scripture was tied to our destiny, only we did not see it at the time. Earlier that week, I was listening to a gentleman called David Van Covering on YouTube. A friend had introduced me to his messages to listen to what he had to say about his thoughts regarding science, physics, geometry, and the properties of light. I found the video insightful and very interesting. The video brought up and created all kinds of questions about why things worked the way they did. I wanted answers to these questions. One of his insights from the video was that matter had memory and could record the past. David Van Covering said that the vision is confirmed inside the vision, for the provision is inside the vision. I showed the video to my wife. We both knew that what we were seeing and hearing was something special and new to us. I will later explain how questions like these helped me create this note-taking process and began this journey. We went to bed that night thinking about what had just happened to us through the LinkedIn app, the scripture we read, and the video we watched. We were wondering what it all meant. While we were in bed, we felt like Christmas had entered our room. Earlier that day, before our praying and reading time, we had sent a presentation to someone we thought would be interested in our project. We found this person through a Google search while looking for work. We were waiting for his reply to our submission for a drone delivery system that I had created. We had no idea that night we would come across his profile on LinkedIn and see all the people of influence that he knew and was connected with. From reading the passage in the Bible, seeing who this person knew and was connected with on LinkedIn made us both very excited, and something strange happened in that space and time in our room. We felt like Christmas had entered our room that night. We were both very excited. My wife even commented that she felt she could smell pine needles and the scent of Christmas in the air. It should be noted that it was August and one of the hottest weeks of the year. Our central AC was not working, and the ambient room temperature was well into the 90s. Something happened at that moment that made us both feel an event together. We can't convince ourselves to muster up these feelings using our willpower. We feel it was a supernatural event that caused all of these physical feelings to happen in that time and space. We learned something that night, and I wrote it down on paper, beginning the process of recording these events. A dream. On the morning of September 5th, 2016, I had a dream that I was going back and forth between the land that we owned and had bought in Texas. I also traveled to my home in Rockford, where I was raised and born. At the beginning of the dream, I was in Texas and saw the grass and land on the 2 acres of land that we had bought previously. In the dream, I went back to Rockford and saw a huge construction company that came in with a load of dirt, equipment, machinery, and a building. It was a very small building. Everything was happening all at once. They were going to rework the land at the edge of my house in Rockford. I saw a field that was acres wide and very long. On the edge of this field, there stood a man who looked like the actor Tate from the Bewitched episodes in the TV series. He motioned to me to come to the truck that he was driving, then spoke to me. "I see you're doing well, and you are doing what I told you to do." While still dreaming, I was back in Texas on my land. I was speaking again to this person that I thought was Tate. I said, "You were my neighbor in Rockford." He said that he was, and I am taking over because the others did not do what I told them to do. He said for me to keep the property neat and the grass cut. Next, I was back in Rockford and woke up as a machine started up. That was a very odd dream. I don't know what it meant. I still to this day do not know what this dream was about, nor has anyone been able to interpret the meaning. Maybe one day it will be revealed. But the dream happened just as I described it to you. Was it from God? Or was it just random electrical impulses from a pizza that I ate earlier? I still don't know. The reason I am telling you these dreams is because this is where it all started. September 10th, 2016. While I was praying to God, I felt as if I was in a large banquet hall and was having this conversation before a king. I was petitioning the king for advice, wisdom, and direction. It was brief, and the feeling at the moment felt very real. I knew it was a type of reality I was in, yet I was still in my physical body while these events occurred around me. The one thing I want to point out as I think back on this experience is that I could feel the room's atmospheric pressure on my skin, just as if I was really in a large hall and speaking with all the emotions that come when you are speaking with someone of royalty. The next day after these dreams, I came up with the drone delivery system that was scribbled down on paper. These are the notes that I wrote down between July 31st and September 9 to 10th, 2016. This begins the notes, the journey, the revelations, God, His Torah, His Word, and His intentions.